Here we go. Welcome in to episode 4 of First Base, y'all. We're going to get comfy and cozy today, doing episode 4 here from my house. We're going to hang out on my couch. You guys are going to get to know me. If you watched episode 1, it was called Top of the First with Taylor, where you got to know me a little bit, my career path, how I got into sports, all of that. I thought it would be fun throughout the First Base podcast if we continue to do that here and there when I don't have athletes on. So this episode is going to be bottom of the first, and I'm going to do something a little bit fun. Through my social media channels, I had you guys ask me a bunch of different questions. They could be sports related, life related, whatever you wanted to ask me. And we're going to go through some of the really good ones, and I'm going to get into the juice. We're going to stir it up. We're going to stir the pot. We're going to get yummy. We're going to get good. It's going to get juicy. So let's get into these questions. I think I'm going to start with the sports ones, and we're going to go in that realm first, and then we'll move to some of the crazier life questions that you guys got for me. So let's begin with the sports questions. Let's start with the question about the podcast first. Somebody said, what is the most challenging thing in starting your own show / podcast? Well, there's a lot of challenges and obstacles that I did not expect. I would have to say one of the hardest, though, is probably getting people to interview, reaching out and making sure that I'm having fresh content and different people and people from different athletes from different sports every single week is tough. And especially the bigger the guest, the harder it is to get them on. So that's definitely a little bit of a struggle trying to get people on. Also, the thoughts about how much equipment you need for this kind of thing, that's something that you don't always think of right away, and how much work and time and money goes into all of that too. The equipment, the help. I have my lovely friends that are helping here behind me, Sophie and Drew, that are helping me shoot, do all the production. If I didn't have them, this would be even harder for me. So I'm like, there's so many obstacles to all of this, and trying to get anything off of the ground at the start is so difficult. It's basically like you're starting your own small business. It's tough, but it's been worth it, and I'm really loving the feedback that I'm getting. So I appreciate all you guys that are watching or listening, because it really means a lot. Next question that we're going to go to in the sports industry. What are some tips and advice that you have for people that are trying to get into the sports broadcasting industry? And I love this question because I've always had this weird little bit of me that's kind of got like a mentorship type of thing to myself. I feel like I always like helping people that are younger than me, whether they're in my space or not in the sports space. It's always kind of been something that I've loved. Maybe that's why I also really enjoy coaching right now too. It's always been fun for me. But I would say the biggest piece of advice when it comes to getting into the sports industry is, this might sound really cliche and stupid too, but be yourself. And when I say that, be yourself, go for the things within the industry that are the most interesting to you and that you have the most passion in. And don't be afraid to take something that doesn't exactly align with where you want to go. Every opportunity within this industry is a building block for you to get to the step where you want to be. And it's crucial to learn every single part of this. I learned to edit while I was in college, and that's something now that's coming back around as I'm doing this podcast that I'm happy that I learned at a younger age, because yet again, throughout my career, it's coming back up as a skill that I need to be able to use. Another big piece of advice that I would say is, don't feel like because you aren't getting your dream job or aren't getting to that step yet that it's not going to happen, because it will. But also use what you have for yourself to make something out of yourself in the industry. And by that, I mean, nowadays we have so many different avenues and abilities to be able to use social media and your digital presence to build who you are within the sports industry. You can bring what you've learned, taught yourself in your own realm to other companies and show them what you do. Kind of what I'm doing here with this podcast as well. It's mine. It's my own. I want to show people what I can do behind the scenes and in front of the camera and build it in my career. So be yourself. Use every avenue you can and say yes to every opportunity that comes your way, because it will build and get you to where you want to be for the future. I love this question that I got. What is your biggest sports heartbreak as a fan? And this might be cliche and basic of me, but I'm a gigantic Cubs fan. The Cubs, I bleed Cubby blue through and through. And I, of course, have to say, in 2003, the Bartman incident, the downfall of the Cubs for the NL pennant, that eventually led the Marlins to go to the World Series. I mean, there are so many moments throughout that series that were heartbreakers. Of course, Bartman is the biggest that everybody goes to and remembers, but that entire game went downhill after that all happened. Probably my biggest sports heartbreak, but I was younger then. I also would say, if I had to pick a second, possibly the Suns losing the NBA championship to the Bucks. I am somewhat of a newer Suns fan because I have only been in the Valley for 7 years. I grew up a Bulls fan. I've become a Suns fan since moving out here. And I was just growing such a love for the Suns at that time and seeing this young roster make it to the finals. But then, of course, losing heartbreak to Giannis and the Bucks. That was a tough one to see. But I guess I still have current heartbreak for the Suns right now, too, because the chances of them being good through the next few years is slim to none. And I don't think the head coaching change to Budenholzer is going to be that detrimental, I guess isn't the right word, isn't going to be that groundbreaking that it's going to change the chemistry between this Suns team. So I've got heartbreak going on at the moment right now for the Phoenix Suns unless I see something different next season. Next question. What is my favorite ballpark that I've ever visited? Well, as a Cubs fan, of course, I'm going to say Wrigley. And even people that aren't Cubs fans are going to say Wrigley because of the history that stadium has and the way it's built. The atmosphere in Wrigleyville is unmatched. So, of course, I'm going to say Wrigley. If I had to pick outside of Wrigley for stadiums that I've been to, I honestly love Coors Field in Denver. I think that the way that the stadium is set up is super cool, and I love the bar top that's above, I think it's above sea level, as they say, but like a mile high. Really, really cool. The food up there is absolutely great. And because the Rockies aren't a very good team, you can go for like $9 and be 3 rows off the field. So if you're looking for a cheap baseball game to go see some Major League Baseball and get a really good experience at a park with great food, go to Coors Field in Denver. I would say that's one of my favorites I've been to so far. Okay. All right, let's go to a little bit of a betting question because we know I'm a betting gal. What is my favorite sport to bet on and why? And then also somebody else asked, which do I think is the easiest to bet on for me? My favorite sport to bet on is probably the NFL. My favorite sport to watch is baseball. It's my favorite sport to follow. But betting the NFL is the most fun for me. And reason being, it's probably because I pay so much attention to the NFL and I feel like I know players inside and out on every team very, very well. So betting player props and paying attention to trends and how teams have been and players have been throughout the entire season, it's a little bit easier for me to take a hold of and grasp and maybe not spend as much time deep diving into the research because I pay so much attention to the sport already on a day-to-day basis. I mean, this is me on a Sunday morning. I'm dead in my bed. The alarm goes off. I pop up. I'm awake. You know what I do? I grab that remote, Red Zone. We put on Red Zone, and that's what I'm doing for my whole Sunday. We're watching Red Zone. So football, I would say easiest sport for me to bet. What's my favorite sport to bet? Would probably be baseball, just because I love the sport of baseball. I love paying attention to it. If you know me, you know I love a good pitcher prop. I'm all about the K props, the outs props, the hits allowed props, and the walks props. Oh, don't forget about the total outs props. But yeah, so that would be the two. I would have to say baseball, football. Y'all know I love a little bit of NBA. I love me a little UFC. I love me a little golf, all those areas to bet on too. But when I've got to say easiest and then my favorite, it's got to be baseball and football. Okay, this one was good, and I feel like this person was kind of trying to roast me a little bit. So I'm like, I got to answer the question. Somebody asked, why do I cheer for multiple teams within the same sport? And I'm like, first of all, I need to know what you mean by that because I don't really feel like I cheer for multiple teams within the same sport. I somewhat do, but I don't. If we're going over my logistics of who my top teams are, basketball, it's the Suns. Football, it's the Cowboys. Baseball, it's the Cubs. Hockey, it's the Blackhawks. College, it's Iowa. That's where the rankings go. That's what my teams are. Because I have moved out to the Valley, I have started to grow a little bit of a fandom in baseball for the Diamondbacks. The Cubs are always number one. I will never, ever root against the Cubs, or the Diamondbacks will never be above the Cubs. But because I live out here and I love baseball, I do very, very closely follow this Diamondbacks team. So I've become a little bit of a Diamondbacks fan. And the same goes for basketball with the Bulls. I'm more of a Suns fan, but I always am going to love the Bulls a little bit. Same with the Bears because I'm from Chicago, but I'm a Cowboys fan. If that makes sense, I try not to be a hater, although there are some teams that I despise. Most people know I'm a big Buffalo Bills hater. Not a huge White Sox kind of girl. Ugh. And I also, as a Cubs fan, we don't cheer for the St. Louis Cardinals either. So those are probably my three teams that I'm like, garbage. They could leave and I would literally never care about them ever again. We could just crumple them up, toss them in the garbage, they're out. So top three teams that I want out of sports, we'll go through those one more time for the leagues, in case they're ever wondering what Taylor Mathis doesn't want to see anymore. We don't want to see the White Sox, the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Buffalo Bills. Okay, those are my three. And that's why I cheer for multiple teams. If that's cheering for multiple teams, I guess it is, but I like to spice it up. I like to see what things are going. And then people are saying that I was like cheering for Purdue during the national championship. Well, they were the Big Ten team. I'm going to go for the Big Ten team. Iowa was nowhere near it. We got to go for the next closest. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to get into some of these questions. This one's a little sports related still, but it also like is a life question. And somebody asked, how do you deal with sexism in sports and not let it piss you off every single day? I have a very intricate answer for this. To start off, of course, there's some sexism within sports. It's a male-dominated field in any aspect, whether it comes to the people that are out there on the field or the court playing the sport. We're mostly seeing men, and male sports are getting most of the attention. And from a broadcasting perspective, like with myself, men dominate our field, and it's more rare to see a female in one of the top tier spots within the industry. Of course, that can be tough for any female. It's going to be a little bit harder for us to pave our way and work our way in. But with that being said, there are so many opportunities that I've been awarded and other women have been awarded more as time has gone on compared to the women that have paved the way for us through time. So I am appreciative of where the industry has gone and where it's going, because I feel like we're starting to see more opportunities. Women are getting more chances within the sports world, but we still deserve a lot more. But it is up and coming. We're seeing more of that. I do appreciate that. How do I deal with the way people are? I would say when it comes to sexism, social media being such a big part of this industry is probably where I see it the most. Being a female, people of course want to automatically assume you know absolutely nothing about the sports that you're talking about. They assume that a male is feeding you all the information and you're just sitting on camera looking pretty, regurgitating it out. And thirdly, a lot of people think that you just got your job because of the way you look all of the time. So there are a lot of different things that you've got to deal with, and there are trolls on the internet coming at you on a daily basis, trying to tell you why you're not good enough, why you shouldn't have the job you do, and being a woman, this isn't the spot that you should be in. For me, I learned early on in the industry that building a thick skin was absolutely imperative if I wanted to be doing this job. I was told in my first job I shouldn't stand to the side reporting sports because I had too many curves and it was too distracting to men watching the TV. I've been told not to wear certain things. I've been told I can't dye my hair. I've been told I'm dumb. I've been told I'm a dumb blonde with big boobs. I've heard it all. I've been told my voice makes people, it sounds like nails on a chalkboard. Any way that somebody can rip you down in this industry, it's going to happen, but you've got to have a skin that is thick, and you basically on a daily basis, if I see those things, it's either the block button or I brush it off like those people don't have enough time in their day. I'm out here trying to do things, make something of myself, and they're busy sitting online talking about people that they don't even know. When you look at it from that realm, it's like, why would I even take these people into consideration? I don't even know if that's necessarily, there's a little bit of sexism in that, a little bit of dealing with trolls on social media. Being a woman in the space does have a few advantages. Does it though? I'm like thinking, wait, but does it? Does it have any advantages? I'm kind of like, I don't effing know if it has any advantages. Yeah, I feel like I should. Actually, when I truly think about it, I don't really know if there are any advantages to being in the industry, because even when I look at it from a back end type of thing, I think one of my hardest things that I've dealt with in the industry, unfortunately, it's a blessing and a curse, has been the way that I look. I'm blonde. I'm curvier in certain spots. I'm I'm blonde and I'm curvier in certain areas, and I feel like because of that, a lot of times, immediately anything that I put out there is me trying to be sexual, or I quote unquote, as the guys will say on replies, I know what I'm doing, and things like that. And I hate that because sometimes it's like, dude, I was born this way. I don't know what to do. I'm wearing a tank top and I'm walking. I don't know what you want me to do about that. I'm doing the best I can with what I got, and that's just the hand I was dealt. Like, I am not trying to make everything sexual. You are actually the one sexualizing me. I'm not sexualizing anything. I'm just being myself. And I think that that has been such a hard thing for me to grasp in my younger years. Now being in my 30s, I've kind of just started to say to those people, a big those people, because I know sometimes I just like to show off my outfit. I love to shop. I love clothes. I actually went shopping this week. I got a lot of outfits from Zara. They're pretty cute. Stay tuned to see them. I'm sure you'll see them at some point. I like to show off my outfits. It's not about me showing off my body, showing off what I am. I'm like a goofy girl too. I'm not like a girl that tries to be like, I don't even know, sexy. That's just not really my persona most of the time. So I'm like, I like showing off my clothes. Do I have a body that tends to be a little bit more curvaceous than some girls? Yes, but that doesn't mean I should be sexualized because of it. I think that's probably one of the hardest things that I've dealt with in my career, is immediately getting judged off the bat based on my looks. We're done with that topic now, but let's move into a couple of fun questions. So I've got some really good ones that people asked, and I'm super excited to get into. One that I loved that I got asked, and actually my mom wrote this one, so I'm like, I've got to answer it, and it's just super cute. She said, who is somebody that you look up to and admire within your life? And the first person that always comes to my mind is my noni. I've always been super, super close with my noni. My noni's my grandma. It's my mom's mom. And I can't even describe a better human being. I don't necessarily look up for her and look up to her for reasons of career accolades or things like that. It's more of just being a good human being and seeing the way she's always there for every single one of us within our family. My noni, I always say, is like an angel that was brought onto this earth to bring happiness to everybody else, because she just finds happiness in the smallest, purest things in life. Like growing up, she watched me every single Monday. She'd pick me and my sister up from school, and she'd take us to McDonald's. And it was like the biggest joy for us, for the three of us to ride in her little blue Sunfire that she had, her Pontiac Sunfire. We'd sit in the back seat. We'd eat some Good and Plenties with her. We would drive to McDonald's, get a little small fry, and then we'd go home and we'd watch the Ellen Show, and then we'd watch The Hills. And it was like our favorite to just hang out with our noni, watch our little crappy TV shows, and eat our McDonald's. And just my noni gets the biggest joy out of life of just spending time with her family and small things like that that make us happy, watching little stupid TV shows, eating McDonald's, being around the people we love, and just being a good person. I feel like she is just somebody that everybody should emulate, because I can't even describe somebody that I know that's better than her. So I'm like, why am I almost going to cry right now talking about her? But I just really love my noni. She is the best. And she's also been somebody, she's always so supportive of me. She's also a woman that loves sports, like loves her Cubbies, loves baseball. She loves a good Coors Light every night down on the dock, sitting out there by the boat. So I'm just like, she brings happiness to everybody's life, and she makes me want to be a better person every single day. So she is somebody that I definitely admire. That was a good question, Mom. That was a good question, Mother. Gosh. Okay. To go along with that same little strand of family that I'm talking about, somebody else asked, what is the best piece of advice that you were ever given by your mom and your dad? And I love this question. I'm going to start with my dad. Best piece of advice my dad gave me was probably when I was like 5, honestly, because this is something he has repeated throughout our lives. And to put it simply, it's wake up every day with a smile, wake up every day with a positive attitude. My dad is one of the happiest go lucky people ever. No matter what is going on in his life, he always, regardless, when I was growing up and still to this day, always woke up in a good mood, always woke up cheerful, always woke the house up happy, singing, getting us ready for the day, watching Wild Thornberries, singing Nelly in the backseat of his car on the way to school. He made every day fun. And regardless of whatever work stress he was having growing up, I would have never known because our dad was always the happiest, most positive person. And he still emulates that in my adult life too, talking about being a good person, be a positive person, because the more positivity you put out, the more positivity you're going to get back in your life. And I love that piece of advice and I wholeheartedly stick to it. You could be going through literal hell, and you know what? Remember how grateful you should be for all the small wins that you have within your life on a day-to-day basis. From my mom, there's kind of two pieces of advice. One kind of goes along with the thick skin. I've said this quite a few times. My mom was really the one that, when I got into this industry, she's like, Taylor, you've got to build a thick skin if you're going to get through this, honey, because this is going to be tough. If you're getting hammered like this every single day, you gotta be stronger, and we're going to get you there. And I will say that she has been my number one supporter, pusher, helper, cheerleader, anything that you can think to get me to that spot, to have a thicker skin and be stronger in the woman that I am. I credit a lot of that to my mom, because my mom's a strong woman and she's done a lot through her life, working full-time and being a full-time mom, incredible teacher. She does it all. Truly, she does it all. And she's a great human. So the thicker skin. But then also, besides that, one other thing that my mom has taught me that I just love about her, and this is just about being a genuine good person. She's always about choose kindness. Love that. That's very easy without having to, go in depth. That makes sense. She also has always hammered the saying to my sister and I, if you got it, flaunt it. My mom is all about confident women and being confident. Be yourself, be genuine, be who you are. And I will always agree with her on that piece of advice. She's always been somebody that's like, she's never thought once when I post something on Instagram, she knows where I'm truly coming from and who I am. So when things like that come up, she's always like, T, beautiful. You look so good. Like, she is always telling me to just be who I am and put it all out there. If you got it, flaunt it. Like, show people what you got. Show people your skills, whether it's, and I'm not even just meaning in a physical aspect, show people who you are. If they love it, they love it. If they don't, then they can, yeah. Pretty much that's what she's saying with that. And I love those pieces of advice. So those would be that. All right. Let's get into the juicies. You guys want to know juicy questions? I got some juicy answers for you. Let's start off with what's my worst date. Boy, do I got a good story for this one. What's the worst date I've ever been on? This was a while ago, years ago. Was on Hinge. I had never been on Hinge. I didn't know what I was doing. And I was like, okay, we're going to make a profile. I make a little profile and I match with this boy. I'm just going to say the name because it wasn't even his name. Campbell. Campbell offers to pick me up, and my stupid head just was like, oh, he's being a gentleman. Let him pick you up from your place. I don't know why I did that. He could have been a serial killer. I didn't know, but I was like, oh, I'm fine. He picks me up. We barely even talk, like text or anything before he picked me up. So I didn't really know much about this guy besides his name was Campbell. He was 32. Get in the car. Immediately, the energy was so off. I was just like, something in the air already was like, this smells like bad date. It was just not good. So I'm sitting there, I get in the car, I give him this awkward side hug, and he's like, hi, I'm Ryan. And then immediately my head's like, wait, what? And then he just starts chatting and driving to get to the restaurant. And I'm like, wait. So in my head, I'm like, Ryan, what? I'm like, he said his name was Campbell. And I'm kind of looking at him while we're sitting in the car to the side and he's driving, looking at his profile. And I'm like, this guy looks older than his pictures. Like, it was the same guy, but he looked older. So I like interrupt him while he's talking. I'm like, I'm sorry, did you say your name's Ryan? And he's like, yeah, it's Ryan. I was like, and how old did you say you are? And then he goes, how old did my profile say I was? And I like looked at him and I was like, what the, this is getting weird. And he's like, 32. I said 32. And he looks at me, he goes, oh, and he starts chuckling. He goes, well, I use Campbell because that's my middle name. And I put that I'm 32 because I don't want my younger female employees to know I'm on dating apps. And I'm sitting there thinking, dude, they're your pictures. They know your face. They know your face, so they're still going to know it's you. And then they're just going to think you're weirder because you're not using your name or your age. So you look like a weirdo. And I was just thinking in my head, I'm like, this is the weirdest excuse I've ever heard. Sounds like you're just a liar. But I kind of like let it slide because I'm in this car with this man. So I'm like, what do I do? Let me out on the 101. Let me out. Like, I didn't know what to do. So I'm just like sitting in the car and he's just jabbering on about how where he graduated, and he's like trying to impress me with saying that him and his friend have this plane and whatever. And men try to do that in Scottsdale. They try to throw money at women. I don't give a crap about that. I don't give a crap about that. So I'm just like basically like listening, but I'm also like, what am I doing in this car? He proceeds to start telling me that when he got out of college, he worked in a plastic surgeon's office for a while. And he's like, I worked in this plastic surgeon's office as an assistant. It was a really interesting job to do. I had never done something like that before. And I'm just like, oh, cool. Awesome. I didn't really know what to say. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, that's really cool. And he was just like, yeah. He goes, let's play a little game. And I like looked at him and I'm like, oh boy, I'm scared, because I'm like, what kind of game is this Ryan Campbell going to pull out of his butt? And here's what he goes with. He goes, let's play a little game of I'm going to guess what plastic surgery you've had and what you haven't had. And I'm thinking, what the heck? First of all, who says this to a girl if they're just me? And second of all, plastic surgery is very big out here in the Scottsdale, Phoenix area. It is. But I'm like, why are we calling a girl out on this? And why are we talking about this? But I am such a polite person that in the moment I was like, sure, because I like didn't know what to say, and I'm in this guy's car on the 101 and I'm like, what do I do? So I'm like, what am I gonna do right now? So I just like looked at him and I was like, okay. Like I literally did not know what to say. I kind of froze in the moment, for sure. I was getting a little stage fright, I think. And he goes, all right, I would guess you've had a nose job. And I'm like, okay. And then he was like, but you want to know do you want to know what I know you haven't had done? And I knew what was already going to come out of his mouth. I look at him and I was like, what haven't I had done, Ryan? And he's like, those. We all know what he was pointing to. And he goes, because I've played with a lot of fake ones inside and outside the office. And I just like looked at him and I was like, and I just looked at him and I go, well, I haven't had a nose job. And I was like, I actually haven't had any plastic surgery. So I don't really know what to tell you. And my head was just spinning at this point that he had the balls to say that. But I was like, let it go. Maybe he feels awkward. It's a first date. I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt again, which was already 2 strikes for me. Too nice. I was being too nice. We park. We're walking up to the restaurant. And he goes, oh, you are short. And I go, yup, 5'2", just like my profile said. And he proceeded to say, yeah, spinner size. That'll be fun for later. And I literally, first of all, I didn't know what a spinner was. And if you don't know what it is, you can go look it up on your own time. I'm not explaining it. But 2, I didn't know, but I had an idea of where that was going. And I was like, I am done with this. So we walk immediately into the restaurant. I go to the bathroom ASAP. I was like, I got to go to the bathroom. I call my best friend, Cher. I'm like, Cher, I'm not staying on this date. And I told her what happened. She's like, oh my God, I will be there in 5 minutes. She goes, but you got to go out and tell him that you're leaving. So I go out there. I walk up to the table. I shake his hand. I say, hey, it was really nice to meet you, but I don't think that we're really clicking. I hope you have a good night. And then he was really nice at first. And he was like, that's totally okay. Do you need an Uber? And I was like, no, I'm good. My friend's coming to get me. And he's like, well, it was nice to meet you too. Walks out. 2 minutes later, the man texts me and he's like, so you're not going to even give me a chance? I don't really understand. I know some of the things I said might have come up as weird, but I was nervous because I thought you were really beautiful. So I'm like, all right, dude, you know what you said, what was weird then, clearly, because you brought it up. But like, also, no, I'm not giving you a chance because it made me feel uncomfortable and I don't have to give you a chance. So I just responded back to him. And I was like, I don't really think that we click. Like I said, it was nice to meet you. I wish you the best, but like, no, I don't think that we're going to be a match. And then he got really pissed and he was like, all right, well, screw you then. Sends me a text back and I was like, okay, whatever, I don't even care. Like 6 months later, randomly, I get a text from him and he invites me to some Halloween party. Didn't respond. And I was like, okay, weird. That was random. 2.5 years later, I'm at the Sam Hunt concert at Waste Management. I think this was like 2 or 3 years ago. He played it, I don't know, 2 years ago maybe. Standing at the porta potties, just waiting for my boyfriend at the time to come out of the bathroom. And I get like a tap on my hat. And I like look up and this guy is standing there and he's like, you're really beautiful. I was wondering if maybe I could take you out sometime. My friends and I have been staring here, wanting to talk to you. And I finally got up the nerve to do it. And then when we really, truly like made good eye contact, I was like, hey, Campbell. And he was like, oh my God, Taylor. And I was just like, yep, it's me. And then he's like, so you want to give me a chance for that second date now? And I said, nope, still not going to. And then I walked away. So that's my worst date story. Campbell Ryan Campbell, whoever you are, 32, 38, 40, 100. I don't know, but you weren't it for me. For me. Maybe some other girl will love the spinner talk and the plastic surgery, but that's not going to be me, honey. So that's my worst date story. And let's move right into, somebody asked if I could give advice on people that are on dating apps to men on how they should talk to women on them. Here would be my biggest piece of advice. Do not message a girl, hey, or hi, so-and-so, how are you? That is boring. That is lame. The conversation is going nowhere. Everybody is going to respond with, good, how are you? Or we're just going to look at it and not respond. Give me something to go off of. Look at something on the profile and talk about that. Maybe one of the pictures is a girl hiking, or she's really into dancing, or I don't even know, loves to read. Bring something up about a hobby of hers, or bring up an activity the two of you guys could do. Tell her an interesting fact about yourself. Make it funny. For me, a hey, hi is like literally the stupidest thing. It's like, what's the point of this? This conversation's about to go nowhere. We're never going to get off this app. That's my biggest takeaway. Don't go with a hey or a how are you. I also think another big thing for me, if you're on a dating app, do not ask a girl to coffee or drinks. And maybe this is me being hoity-toity or a little too bougie, but you know what? It is who I am. I don't want to go for coffee and I don't want to go for drinks for a first date. Women are getting asked on dates often, and I'm not about to use my most valuable asset in life, time, to go get coffee. I want effort from a guy. I know my husband is going to give me effort, so I want to see that out the gate. Put in a little bit of effort. And I'm not saying that means you got to take me to some 5-star restaurant or something. I'm meaning put in effort. Maybe we go to dinner and then I love to read. Take me to a bookstore and we pick out what we think our funniest books would be. I'm not saying it has to be like expensive by any means. It's putting in the thought, time, and looking at the little things to make it memorable for the person. I don't like drinks is bland, coffee's bland. It just mixes in with other people that other people went on dates with. Stand out, boys. Come up with something better than that. I'm bored. So that's my take on that. Right, so we were looking through some of the craziest ones I've been asked, and somebody put, which baseball player do you want to bang the most? And you want to know what Drew said sitting over here? He goes, Babe Ruth. And you know what? I just got to say, best answer I've ever heard. Babe Ruth, those black and white shots. Oh, baby. He's looking good. He's looking fine. He's looking old time. We love it. A little Babe Ruth, babes. That's who I would pick. Oh my God. And the amount of people asking me on dates also. All right. Well, the amount of people asking me on dates, just stop. That's not a juicy question. That's not a juicy idea. No, kids. I'm also like, that's a no from me. Like, we're not about that. Let me just ask Taylor a question on the question app. Will you go out on a date with me? Be my wedding date. It would be an honor to take you out in Colorado Springs. Come to Virginia. No. I don't even know who any of you are. Just stop with that. Next one, though, what do you look for in somebody when you're thinking about dating them? Or like, what do you look for in a significant other is what several people asked you. And I have the big three, I like to call them. We know the big three doesn't work well in the NBA. I don't know if the big three works well for Taylor's life, but we'll find out. Number one, ambition and passion. If you don't have ambition and passion for something in life, what are you doing? We're all living on a rock floating in the middle of nowhere. If you get up every day and you're lazy and you're not excited about what you're doing in life, you're not making anything out of the life that you have. And I'm not just saying it has to be your career path. Maybe you're super passionate about your family. They're all in for you as a wife or a father. Maybe it is your hobby and you're really into running and that's something that you go and you do every single day and it makes you happy and you're passionate about it. Something larger than life that makes you happy on your day-to-day basis to live. Having passion, having drive, having ambition. That's also something that I have a lot of for a lot of different fields within my life. So I like a partner that's also going to be able to emulate that. We can bounce ideas off of each other. We can talk about our days and what we're striving for, and maybe be able to help each other along the way as well. Number two in the big three is going to be somebody that I don't have to babysit. And here's what I mean by that. I am an outgoing girly. I love my friends too. I think I love my friends sometimes a little too much. Honestly, if I had to think about like, who do I spend most of my days with? Who do I talk to most of the time? It's Cher and Sophie. Like, that's my day to day. Like, who am I talking to? It's them. If you cannot get along with, and it's not even just, I guess, about getting along with my friends. It tends to be, sometimes I'm not the best that when I'm with all of my friends, I'm so like focused on wanting to be around my friends and I love my friends and I want to know what's going on in my friend's life, that I need you to be able to handle yourself so that when we're around groups of people in social settings, my friends, your friends, people we don't know, I don't have to handhold you. I tend to be a little bit of a bopper. As I say, I bop to conversations. I move around a lot. Maybe I want to dance for a moment. Maybe I want to go check in with so-and-so who I haven't chatted with in a few weeks. Maybe I, made a new friend, or maybe I'm making a business connection, whatever it might be. I want that person to be able to handle themselves, whether that's in sharing in the conversation that I'm in or creating a conversation with somebody else. And I'm not worried that you feel awkward or alone in that moment. That's really, really big for me and something I look for because I'm not a great babysitter. I'm just not, y'all. So don't ask me to watch your kids. And number three in the big three would be somebody that values relationships. And what I mean when I say that is values relationships in all aspects of life, not just romantic relationships. Somebody who loves their friends and is going to be there for them and do the little things. Somebody that loves their family and is tight-knit with them, because even though I live thousands of miles away from my family all the way in Chicago, they make an effort to talk to me and be there for me every day and vice versa. Long distance relationships like that, whether it's family, love, friends, relationships take effort and time, and showing that you're able to do that with other human beings is huge to me because I value the people I love so much. I want you to also value the people that you love within your life. And I feel like when that translates in your family and your friend's life, it usually smooths over very easily to the relationship love aspect of your life too. So those are T's big three and what she looks for. Now, if you want some things that are a little more shallow, I love some good teeth. Give me a nice smile. Ooh, that's going to get me a little nervous. And I love people that make great eye contact when they're speaking with me. I look at body language and eye contact a lot. And I'm somebody that I feel like has really developed strong eye contact over the years. And it's a cornerstone of my confidence in who I am. And I want somebody who can lock in on the eyes with me very well. One more. This is going to be oh no, you know what? Actually, yes, this is going to be my last one to wrap it up. And then I'm going to do my topics quickly. What's my last one going to be? Okay, and last question that I'm going to use to wrap up before we get into our Taylor's topics is, what is your love language? If you haven't read the Love Languages book, I advise everybody to read that book because it's just important to know, not even for relationships, again, that are romantic, just in life in general. It's good to know how you give and how you receive love. For me, I'm a big physical touch person, and I love words of affirmation. I love somebody pumping me up and making me feel confident about myself and telling me the things that they admire about me, that they love about me, that they appreciate. And I also just love somebody giving me a little physical touch makes me feel like they're interested, they want to be there, they value me. It's nice. I love it. The way I give love, though, I've started to notice I tend to be a really big gift giver. For me, I give extravagant gifts always. I don't know why, but it's just like a way for me to show the people that I care about in my life that they matter to me. And like, here's an example for my mom's retirement right now. She's retiring this year, and I decided, instead of just, getting her this little retirement present, we're going on this whole big trip to Spain this summer. So I like big extravagant things because for some reason, like, I've got a big heart and I like to show it through like doing different things for people. I don't know when that started for me, but maybe more in my adult years. I've always been a little bit more of a gift giver than anything else. I also think I like to give in words of affirmation as well. I'm pretty big about being very blunt and forward, whether that's good or bad. So I tell a lot of people just straight up whatever's in my brain and thinking right in that moment. So those would have to be my two. Right. All right, well, wrapping up the Q&A little portion, and we're going to go, of course, to my Taylor's topics for the week. And we are starting out strong. Number one, this one's a big one for me, and I'm going to get a little vulnerable with you guys. But this week, one of my Taylor's topics and things that are in is natural eyelashes. And this is, you guys are probably like, natural eyelashes? Why is this vulnerable to you? Well, it's kind of a long story. I'm trying to really embrace my natural eyelashes, which is honestly really hard for me. And reason being, to go all the way back, I've always been super insecure about my eyes. I've always struggled with my eyes. I just never really liked them. I didn't like that they were brown. I didn't like that they were big. Growing up, I just never liked my eyes. So much so to the point that when I was dating my first boyfriend in high school, I wouldn't look him in the eye. And I mean, literally, I wouldn't look him in the eye. We would be talking and I would stand and I would face my locker and he'd be to the side over here and I'd be like this. And then I'd grab my books and I'd go like this and I would walk. I was literally that scared to look him in the eye all the time. And it's because I was so insecure of making eye contact, and I honestly thought my eyes were ugly. So I would always never want to make eye contact. And it was something that was so bad that people noticed it and would bring it up to me. Why don't you look people in the eye? Why are you like that? My mom was at the point where she's like, Taylor, we got to start going to a therapist because you got to get over whatever this is. This is going to become a bigger problem as you become an adult. You can't make eye contact with people. I grew out of it somehow, but then the eyelashes part kind of came in because I always had really great natural eyelashes. But then in college, when I got into TV, everybody in the industry wears fake eyelashes. And I just felt like I had to do the same thing. It made them bigger, longer, whatever, shows up more on camera. We're gonna insert a picture of when I used to wear my huge fake eyelashes because I'm like, who thought that this was a good look? I was about to flutter away with those big ass things in my eyes. They're so ugly. I can't stand them. And I'm still kind of about it. I feel like other girls embrace the natural lashes, the lash extensions. I'm not saying if you love them, do you. For me, I'm really trying to embrace my natural lashes. And this week is the first week in probably 3 years, oh my gosh, maybe even longer, 5 years that I have not worn eyelashes once. So this is kind of a really big thing for me. I've kind of ruined my natural lashes because of how much I wore strip lashes over the years. So I've been using an eyelash serum for probably, 6 months now that I'm really into, because I learned, do not be using that Grande lash out there, girls, or the Babe lash, or the Rodan & Fields. All that has progesterone in it. Progesterone will make your eyelashes grow, but it gets rid of the orbital fat tissue underneath your eyes. It's going to hollow out your eyes, and you can never get that back over time. So if you notice you're using a lash serum and your eyes are getting darker and more hollow, that's what it's from. It's really bad for you. It can actually cause major issues with your eyesight too. I've seen people on TikTok talk about how they've had to get major eye surgeries because of lash serum. So don't do that. I use Honest and Therese. It's got none of that in it. It's natural. It's basically castor oil and a couple other oils. But I've been noticing a difference. It's not to the extreme as when I was using the bad eyelash serum, but I'd rather be healthy, have nice lashes, and keep working on growing these babies out. So natural lashes are in for me this week. Taylor's topic, number 2 that we're going to go with, is crying in Shavasana. And if you don't know what Shavasana is, that's at the end of a yoga class, whether that's sculpt or flow or regular yoga or whatever it may be, where you basically lay for like 2 to 3 minutes at the most of these classes at the end, and you just lay there in silence and think. Well, you're not supposed to really think. You're kind of supposed to let go. And our teacher today in my Sunday morning class was talking all about release and letting things go. And I won't go into the exact details of like what I was thinking about, but I've never cried in Shavasana, and it was like weird because I felt like it was an emotional release, what I was specifically thinking about at the time and like why I got so emotional like that. But at the end, I almost felt like it was, of course, I get out of Shavasana and I tell Sophie, and then I like talk to her about it, and I got emotional when I talked to her about it too. I was like, where is this coming from? Clearly something that's like sitting in there that needed to come out a little bit. So it was like a good release at the end of the day. Although I was kind of crying over something that's a little sad, it was needed. So it's a little bit in right now. Crying during Shavasana, I'm here for it. Number 3 on the week, I forgot what my other 2 were that I had in my head.
I don't know, you didn't say them out loud.
I know. Natural lashes. I'll just do one more. I just got to think of what it was. Boogie, get out of here, you handsome devil. And number 3 is Nanny Boogie. He's always in. Nanny Boogie in every week. He just sits here. He has not made a peep. He's perfect. This is an angel disguised as a dog. Cute aggression. That's what, literally me squeezing my cheeks. That's what it is with Pooh. No, that's not what I was gonna say though. Number 3. Oh, I know what one of my other ones was gonna be. And 3rd for me is the song Poison. I don't remember who sings it, but I kind of forgot that song existed, and it played the other day. That girl is poison. I feel like that's my theme song, honestly. I walk into a room and that's what I'm thinking. Me. Poison, that's what I am. That song's in for me right now this week. Everybody go download it. Give it a listen because I kind of forgot that it existed. And it's a good little jam for all of us. That is it for episode 4 of First Base, bottom of the first here with Taylor. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you're new here, please subscribe, comment, give this video a like. If you're listening, write me a review on Spotify or Apple. Every little bit helps, and I truly appreciate it. I'll see you guys next time, and thanks for going to First Base with me. That girl is poison.